Okay, here we are taking a look at Panoramio, Google Earth, and Panoramio in Google Earth. And what I clicked on right here, if you can see, this is the big, sort of modern-looking assembly hall at Rajabat University. And what I want to point out, I use Panoramio quite a bit out in on the field. If I'm going somewhere now that Google Earth for Android is available, I load it up and look at the Panoramio photos and say, gee, that looks like an interesting thing. I'll go there, because they're all supposed to be put in according to location, and the idea would be correct location. But if you look here, this is sort of an in-town example of what I'm talking about. You've just seen over there the and now it's moved over here. And if you look over here, you'll see now, hello, here in a minute, you'll see now it's moved yet again over some of these, the associated pictures. Now it's moved over there. So actually at Rajabat University, we can find the same building in 3 different locations. Now what's happened to me is out in the field, I find things, as I said, look interesting, and I say, gee, I'm going to go there. Now what I usually do is I'll sit here in the house and find things that look interesting, and I'll transfer them from Google Earth to Google Maps. I could do that easier in Windows as opposed to Android. Once I've got Google Earth opened, I could add points, whereas it's a bit more difficult, if not impossible, here in Android. Sort of the same thing. That's the problem, the difference between Google Maps in Windows, I don't know about Apple, but in Windows relative to Google Earth in Android, the difference between Android and the difference between Android and Windows is just like the difference between apples and oranges. So that's sort of what I want to say. So I guess there's 2 parts to this. Be very careful when especially out in the countryside, wherever that countryside may be, when using Panoramio, because people aren't as careful as they should be about putting places in. They put places in, but they don't really check it to put them in the right place. So that's sort of a look at Panoramio. I don't know how long it's going to take it depends on speed, getting outside town here and seeing what's available to look at. Things come up and they don't come up. If we come here real quick, another one you can see is things are often marked, Google marks things incorrectly. If we come over here to my location and just over here, you see a fork and a knife, which would indicate in most places, even Thailand, a restaurant or food. But actually what this fork and knife is pointing out is the Tat Nawang Wetia school. So that's kind of, don't always expect a fork and a knife to point out what you would expect a fork and a knife to point out. And you'll see more and more. Okay, things are kind of slow. Let's just take a quick look out here on the highway and see if we can load anything. Okay, that's about it. That's a look at Google. It's also a demonstration of how slow internet connections are here in Thailand. So where you expect, this is on Wi-Fi on ADSL, and I could probably check the speed and tell you, but relative to most other places in the world, it's basically crappy. Anyhow, that's your look at Panoramio and misplacing or incorrectly locating things in Panoramio. So be careful when you use it. Bye.